to the Adventure of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Why do I deserve this? You can't make me kiss your hand. Then I look around with 1 to 10, so I've given in. Then the bright light wakens, last and closing in. But I stand there waiting.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with...
Zach from Simon Says. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing amazing because you're here at Aftershock.
Yes,
That's
we're here at
fucking
Aftershock.
Badass.
This is amazing. Yes.
And I can tell you, I think I've only seen Mike wear 2 or 3 band shirts ever.
Yeah.
And today he's wearing your shirt.
He is. I couldn't believe it. He's wearing a shirt that he got from our label like 20 years ago.
Is that amazing
Yeah,
or
it's really
what?
cool. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. So.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
how cool is that? Like 20-year hiatus.
For real, right?
And here you are at Aftershock.
I'll be honest with you. Like this was, I mean, a year ago when we kind of regrouped, this was not on the radar. I had no idea, you know. And we just got together. We're like, oh well, let's try to see if we can get because our record was never released online, and when we parted ways with the label that we were on 20 years ago, 04, it was like the internet wasn't what it is now.
Right.
You know, phones weren't where
Whole
they are
different
now.
world.
Totally different world, right? So our record was kind of lost in that transition from CDs and media to digital. And since we didn't have a relationship with the label anymore, I think it was like pay no mind. You know what I mean? So when we finally, about a year ago, got it re-released, they were really cool, and we worked it out, and they re-released both of our albums. And then it's just weird. A year from that, we're playing Aftershock, and it's just amazing. Like it's been a really cool year.
And it's
really
your
cool.
hometown show.
Yeah, and it's in Sacramento, which is our hometown, which is
I know,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of like shirts, okay, I think you have some of the coolest shirts in your merch store.
Oh, thank you.
One of the one that was
I'm
cool.
going to give
the one
myself
that had
credit for that. Thank you very much. I
job.
was the merch guy. Yeah.
One of them had the Sacramento in there.
Yeah, the Harley Davidson one.
Yeah. That one was cool.
Yep.
They're just. I think people need to go to your merch store.
Yes,
is
please
what I'm
do.
saying, or they can't listen to my show.
Well, they can go to simonsaysmerch.com and order whatever you want. We got lots to choose from. Yeah.
So that 20-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Basically, you all grew up over 20 years.
Big time.
Totally different story now as a band, I would think, right?
Yeah. You want me to kind of expand a little bit on it?
Sure.
So, like, basically what happened was, like, just what you probably already would imagine. Like, we were young at about 2001, 2002, we were all of 23, 24 years old. And it was kind of weird. Our second album on the label we were on, Hollywood Records, came out in late July of 01. A month later, we were what they call shelved, where they were not going to put any more money into the album. They felt like we wanted us to go back and make another one. But then a month later, 9/11 happened. And so what was really strange was, like, at a total coincidence, we were in this weird spot of, like, we're kind of in limbo land with the label. 9/11 happened, so no one knows what's going on, right? Yeah. Everybody's kind of panicked and shook up, and it was like we went to war, and so everything kind of changed, and our attention just fell by the wayside, you know? And it happens, you know?
Yeah.
So the band we disbanded. We just kind of said, you know, look, we've given it as far as we can take it, but we're never going to be able to make up this kind of deficit unless we get either on another label or whatever. And so I think we were emotionally spent at that point.
Yeah.
And so we kind of disbanded, and then we didn't really talk much. Like, Matt, the singer, and I are still to this day best friends. And
that's always good to hear about.
Oh yeah, everybody's cool. We just, you know, kind of went on to do our own things. And
you get busy.
Yeah,
You're an adult.
We were all like 24, 25 years old at that point. By the time we got it all worked out and off the label, and you know, it takes time. And then like, it was like, look, you know, we got to figure this out. You know, what are you gonna do? So anyway, fast forward. about 2020 or so, Matt had brought it up to me and a couple of the other guys, and then we kind of got around to jamming, but we didn't really get it. We didn't really like make any moves on it until a couple years later, and we was like, why don't we just do this? This is like fun,
Nice.
and no one cares, and we're all grown out of like being uptight about everything. You know what I
And
mean?
being like, okay, so I know when I was that age, I was an arrogant, cocky fuck.
Oh yeah, man. I think now there's not a lot of expectation. For instance, like we don't, I would love to do this as my livelihood, but I'm not. Like, I mean, I have other things I do for my livelihood, like musically.
Right.
So Simon Says is like a gift. Honestly, it's a gift. Like the fact that we got to do what we did back then, still have a reputation and fans, and then just get to pick up, regroup, and then here we are. Like, really, I mean,
At Aftershock with like
there's
100,000 of
work
your
involved,
local
but
friends.
yeah, it's like there's work involved, but it's like it's all good. Like it's really a gift. Like I feel like I'm lucky to be here. Like no one gets to do what we're doing, especially not after a 20-year break.
Yeah, I
you know?
love hearing that too,
Yeah.
because you would never, if somebody had said to you 20 years ago, you'd be playing Aftershock 2024, you probably would have
No.
been, you're out of your fucking mind.
And not in Simon Says. So it's
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like I do music for a living, but most of my living is done in a studio. I do a lot of hip hop, stuff like that. So it's like, this is pure candy. This is like a gift, like to play guitar with Simon Says was started when I was 15. I've known all these guys since sophomore year of high school, and it's just strange. Like, we're like, here we are. So we have nothing to lose. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, who cares? Let's have fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because that's kind of how Stone Sour came about, because I was interviewing Ray Mayorga on the tour bus when they first came back out. And he's like, yeah, it basically just Corey and I just wanted to jam. We didn't want to do anything with
Right.
it. We just wanted to jam and have fun, and we were having a good time playing at little clubs and
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
There it is.
I just think it's weird. Like, I'm just thankful that, like, I think what for us, you could imagine, like, in that gap time period, not having albums online made us kind of anonymous, like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And I think even to ourselves, it was that way. It was like, oh, that was part of our past, and what are we going to do? And everybody's off doing their life now, and to get everything regrouped would be such a hard thing. Not really. Once everybody was like, yeah, I'm down, it just kicked in and it worked. And I just, like I said, I think everything that we get, to do is just lucky. I think
the no pressure part of it,
That's the key.
Other people involved is what keeps you guys friends and having
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It's all that other bullshit that makes the business not fun.
Totally. I can remember being like really uptight when, like back in the day, like just because you're young and everything is times 10,
Yeah.
and you're super sensitive and you're trying to hype your band and it's all this stuff, but I don't know. I look back on it and I go, we were kids. We were
Yeah.
like kids. It's like weird.
And you don't think you're at that
No,
age.
not at all. I thought I was, I know what I'm doing.
Right, exactly.
I'm 22. I know what I'm doing.
It's like when I talk to my kids and it's like, yeah, I was like that with my dad too, and you'll find out.
Yeah. In fact, I just had a son about a year and a half ago, and it's like
Oh,
a total
congrats.
trip. Yeah, a total trip.
Yeah, now that brings you to a whole different world.
Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, this is the first show I've ever had, like a son or daughter. He's only got one, so it's the first time I ever had my kid at the show. Like
That's wild.
ever, which is cool. I was like, this is really strange. Yeah,
And it is kind of cool. Too.
it's
Like,
cool, man. Uzi, what's up?
Nice.
Yeah, man.
So, and then you guys wrote new music too.
We got new music. Yeah, we have a new album coming out next year. We have a new song called Across the Fire that'll be released in about a month. And it's awesome. In fact, I feel like the new record sounds basically like a combination of Jumpstart and Shut Your Breath. And it's heavy, but it's like super melodic, a lot of singing, big choruses, arena rock shit. It's gonna
I
be cool.
love it.
Yeah.
So, did you feel any difference writing with the guys now?
You know what?
Opposed to then?
What I like now is, like, unlike before, where we would really a lot of times jam it out in the room,
Yeah.
But now, because, like, fast forward 20 years and all the things you can do with technology and stuff, we're all able to, like, we all write. So, like, all of us are able to write and then demo stuff so easily on our phones or on, the laptop or whatever. and then send it to each other. So we can kind of get a head start so much further. And then when we get in the room, it kind of like is almost like the last 30%. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So it's really cool. Like, and we never got to do that. So it's like, to us, this is like new again, you know? So
See, and that's the key too, like feeling that new again. Because when you're a band, no matter how long you've been around, it's like so many things in life. You're looking to recapture that initial feeling.
Yeah, it can get redundant and get like you start writing the same song a few times, you know, and stuff. But you got to keep that fresh. You got to keep that. I always tell people, like, there's this guy who was a clothing designer, and his name was Virgil Abloh. He always said, like, I do everything for the 17-year-old version of myself. You know,
Nice.
and you have to do that. Like, you have to, like, rock and roll is about being a kid and being like, screw you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I want. And so you have to remember that. Totally.
Absolutely.
The kids know.
And then, you know, you have so much more experience that the writing process, I think, and playing even is different, because when you're younger, you think you're great, and now you know that you needed a lot of work then, and you've done that work throughout the years.
Absolutely. I think it also, like, the time and of course, you know, maturing in age and stuff, it gave, at least for me, it gave me a little bit more, like you said earlier, like confidence to kind of not care. Like, I don't care. I don't care what the A&R guy says. I don't care what, this is for me, this is for us, and that's it. And the more that attitude sunk in, the better it's gotten. So it's kind of weird.
The funny thing is it's like you're finally an artist now, whereas back then, more of a puppet than an artist.
You're almost like your partners, because you're working with a bunch of partners, you know, who have invested, you know, in you. And so, and now it's like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, and you can truly be a creative artist, opposed to having some record label say, no, you need to do it this way.
Exactly, yeah.
And you do it because you figure that's the only thing you can do.
Well, you try to play ball, and you're working with your partners, but then at the end of the day, you're right, like, the artist knows what's best for the artist. So
I say that all the time, like, I'm a business person, but I'm also a creative. They're two different people.
Yeah.
And I don't think the business people should be telling the artists how to create.
Oh, man, amen to that. I'll tell you what, the one thing I learned, this is absolutely, is like, I thought because I was the guy in the band that was like the point person, and, you know, I'd get all the calls and the this and that. And I thought, like, okay, well, I guess that's my role, da-da-da. But I realized, like, I'm not good at it. I'm not. I thought I was, and I'm not. In fact, I belong nowhere near that stuff.
That's what also happens when you get older.
I should just stick to being a guitar player and writing this stuff, and let the people that we work with handle that shit. Because, like, even though I'm capable, I'm not. It's
well,
like
there's a difference between being capable and being the one that should be able to.
Yeah, it's like that book, you know, putting the right people in the right seats on the bus. That's how a company works. That's how a good partnership works. And I didn't. You know, I was a kid, so I was like, well, I can do everything. And now I'm like, no, I do this really well, so you do that. You know?
And that's how it should work.
Exactly,
right
yeah.
there.
But I didn't know that then, so, you know.
None of us do. We
So it
all
only
think
took
we
me,
know everything.
20 years to learn it, you know?
Exactly. And lucky you learned it that soon.
Absolutely.
Right?
I tend to take the long way around.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, you're here at Aftershock now.
It's
badass.
We're here. Who cares, man?
I love it. And
thank you.
Thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.